Snow fell like a soft white curtain over the pine-covered valley, burying every path, every fence post, every memory of summer beneath its frozen silence. Inside a small log cabin tucked between the whispering trees, Elena Moore sat alone, wrapped in a worn wool blanket. She had lived through many winters in this valley, but Christmas was always the hardest. It was the one day when the world outside felt louder, brighter, more connected, while she felt like the last candle burning in a forgotten room. Her father had passed years ago. Her mother had been gone even longer. Her brothers had moved south chasing work. Every December, Elena told herself she would grow used to the solitude, that the quiet snow and the crackling log fire were enough company. But as the night deepened and the wind howled against the shutters, the loneliness did not fade. It pressed in closer, breathing with the storm itself. The cabin smelled of pine smoke and old books. A single lantern flickered beside her, casting long, stretching shadows across the wooden walls. Outside, the wind pushed snow into swirling ghosts that brushed against the window. Elena warmed her hands near the fire and tried to read, tried to distract herself, tried to convince her mind that she wasn't waiting, but she was. Waiting for what, she didn't know. Maybe for a sign, maybe for a voice, maybe for something to change after years that all looked the same. The storm grew worse, roaring like an avalanche of cold air and broken branches. She added another log to the fire, listening as it hissed and sparked. The warmth filled the room, but not the empty places inside her. She thought of wandering down to the old church in the town miles away, where families gathered for music and prayer on Christmas Eve. But the snow had wiped out the trail. She was locked into this night, this world, this silence. Then, a sound. Not the wind, not the cracking ice, not an animal trying to burrow into shelter. It was a knock. Helena froze, heart thudding with a mix of fear and hope. Nobody traveled in this weather. Nobody left town at night. Nobody knocked on her door, ever. The knock came again, louder, urgent. She wrapped the blanket tighter around herself, moved slowly to the door and pressed her ear to the wood. "Hello?" she called, unsure if her voice even carried through the storm. A man's voice answered, strained but steady. "Please, I'm seeking refuge. The storm, it caught me on the trail." Elena hesitated. Letting a stranger in was dangerous. The mountains were filled with travelers, trappers, miners, and some honest, some not. But leaving someone to freeze outside was unthinkable. Her father had raised her better than that. She lifted the iron latch and opened the door. Snow swirled inside immediately, biting at her cheeks. Standing in the glow of the lantern was a tall, broad-shouldered stranger, wrapped in a heavy coat lined with frost. His face was hard with cold, lashes white with ice. His boots were nearly swallowed by the snow. He looked like he had walked through miles of winter. He removed his hat respectfully. "I'm sorry to bother you, ma'am. I wouldn't have come if I had any other choice." Elena stepped aside, letting the warmth spill outward. "Come in before you freeze." The stranger nodded gratefully and entered, shutting the door behind him as the wind screamed like a living thing. He stomped the snow from his boots and brushed ice from his coat. Elena studied him carefully, not with fear, but with the caution of someone who had lived alone long enough to trust her instincts. His eyes were alert but kind, his movements steady despite exhaustion. "My name's Caleb Turner," he said after catching his breath. "I was trying to cut across the ridge to reach my brother's homestead, but the storm pushed me off the trail." "You're lucky you found my cabin," Elena replied. "Most folks keep to the valley." Caleb nodded, rubbing his hands near the fire. "I didn't even know someone lived out here." Elena half smiled. "Most don't." For a while, neither spoke. The fire crackled. Caleb thawed. Elena studied the storm through the window. It was strange. The cabin felt different now. Less hollow. Less echoing. Caleb glanced around respectfully. "You live out here alone?" "I do." "That must take a lot of strength." She shrugged. "Some days it feels more like stubbornness." Caleb chuckled softly, not in mockery but in understanding. After a moment, he sat straighter. "I don't want to trouble you more than I already have. When the storm clears, I'll head out. But thank you for letting me in." Elena nodded. Anyone would have done the same. But deep down she knew that wasn't true. Not everyone would open their door on a night like this. Caleb noticed the simple decorations she had tried to put up. A tiny pine wreath, a bundle of red berries, a carved wooden star above the mantel. "Were you celebrating Christmas alone?" he asked gently. Elena exhaled slowly. I've been alone for many Christmases. Caleb didn't offer pity. He didn't tell her it was sad or shouldn't be that way. He simply nodded once, as if acknowledging something strong inside her that he respected. A gust of wind slammed the shutters, making them both jump. Caleb looked toward the door. This storm won't let up tonight. No, Elena agreed. You should stay until morning. Caleb hesitated, as if unused to depending on others. Only if you're sure. I'm sure, she said. It's Christmas. Nobody should freeze in the dark. He gave a quiet, grateful nod, and for the first time in years, the cabin didn't feel like the last candle in a forgotten room. It felt like a place where something new, something honest, something human had stepped inside with the snow. Dawn arrived behind thick clouds, though the snow made it difficult to tell where night ended and morning began. Elena awoke to the faint crackle of the fire and the smell of warmth lingering in the air. Caleb had risen.